The House of Fendi looms large in the Italian fashion world. What started as Adele Fendi's Roman fur and leather boutique in 1925 has blossomed into an international powerhouse and has remained a family affair. In 1965, legendary designer Karl Lagerfeld took the helm. Widely considered to be the most prolific designer of the 20th and 21st centuries, Lagerfeld steered Fendi towards mega success through innovations in technique and, of course, fur.
Fur has to be treated like an extreme refined material, but not as just fur.
He does furs for Fendi. They happen to be the best furs in the world. He has all kinds of innovative approaches to it. It isn't just your mother's mink coat. It's really very exciting.
What you see here is Fendi's technique at its highest, with the most modern sensibility, color, workmanship, craftsmanship. It's just Karl Lagerfeld is his best.
He's always experimenting new approach, new trends, new fashion, new proportions. He never accepts what has been done one season. He wants to do something completely different.
Adele's granddaughter, Silvia Venturini, joined the company in 1992, seconding Lagerfeld in artistic direction. This third-generation Fendi was responsible for the boom in accessories, including the creation of the iconic baguette bag.
I think it's really the time that accessories are becoming a real part of our wardrobe, and they are treated as clothing.
With his artistic touch and casual approach to luxury, Karl Lagerfeld helped Fendi maintain its status for over 5 decades, until his unexpected passing in 2019. In October 2020, Kim Jones, the designer for Dior Men and former menswear designer at Louis Vuitton, was named artistic director. Today, Silvia Venturini Fendi is the only family member still working at the house, carrying the brand's legacy forward. Step into the Video Fashion archives as we look back on this last decade of Fendi in this episode of Video Fashion Designers.
It was the idea of a woman walking in Rome in a beautiful summer day during sunset, because those colors are bright colors seen during sunset when everything is softened. And that is the idea of Italy, what can be perceived and understood all around the world as a message from Rome, from Italy, because I think it's important that Fendi keeps this Italian flavor.
Fendi was softened. There was a lot of pretty in there. There was a lot of kind of peasant references that were beautiful. The accessories, the handbags were superb. Probably one of the best handbag seasons that she's had this in a long time.
I thought the Fendi collection was great. It really tapped into this 70s feeling that we're seeing for spring, and but kind of in a different way. I really liked the volume through the sleeves. There were these lantern-shaped sleeves, if you can imagine that, and also the longer lengths and the really sort of sporty-looking belts and handbags.
And what is also very important is that the handbags, the shoes, and the belts add another color touch. And I wouldn't say one color, but if you look at the bag, they are done in 5-6 different colors and 5-6 different materials. And they are not matching colors for the dresses. They are colors sometimes you don't expect to go together, but without being pretentious, I have the feeling it worked. There are many details, in fact. The shapes may look simple, but in fact there are many details.
I like the new arm, the larger arm, kind of a bell sleeve. I thought that was quite interesting. And I love the use of color, and the larger, longer silhouette I thought was quite lovely, and relaxed silhouette. I think that was quite appealing, and I think a lot of customers will enjoy wearing those pieces.
And I like the ease of it, you know. The cuts are all geometrical, but it's in the soft, fluid material. You can move, and it gives a very relaxed attitude.
It was fresh, it was cotton, And there was this wonderful sort of burnt flame pattern. It was like a love letter that had been thrown in the fire, and then it was used as a print around the edges of the hems. And I like the three-tone shoes and very, very bright colours.
Life should be happy, if it can be happy. There are enough auras going on around the world that it was time to make a happy collection, and there was also enough bags. The inspiration, if you have to put a name on it, it's very much Joe Ponti, the architect who did once the striped house. It doesn't exist anymore. And it's really the essence and the spirit of Milano and Rome. I wanted a collection about daily life in Italy. There's no disco clothes and no red carpet dresses. Refined, elegant ways, the way things used to be in Italy. Even if there's not a reference to a period or thing like this, but it's a kind of modern Silvana Mangano take in a storm. Flawless and impeccable, but very Italian.
Karl Lagerfeld and a lot of other designers have noticed that collections these days can be so focused on evening clothes and so much about, after dark and cocktail hour, and he really decided to do the opposite, to focus on day clothes this season. And he sort of poked fun at day clothes. You saw those little dresses that looked almost like they could have been aprons, and the silhouettes were almost sort of mid-century. That's what Karl Lagerfeld is good for, sort of making your eye see things in a different way.
I think the biggest part of life is daytime. So I thought Fendi, as they do handbags, you wear big handbags in the daytime, we should do clothes who go with this kind of daily life.
What I liked about Fendi was a little bit of, it was kind of opposite of what's going on right now. We're getting a lot of kind of sexy 50s feel, and this was in that vein, but it was strict. It was kind of school momish, bookish, very graphic, but I kind of like those little prissy dresses. They were really cool, and the accessories were divine.
Of course, the accessories at Fendi are always exquisite, especially those last little clutches with the beads and the fur.
Accessories, well, there's a bag, the new bag that has a double function, because this is really what is happening today in accessories. They have a longer life, so it's nice that you can have several functions. A light collection made of very light fabrics with little details, simple details, very graphic details, like a ribbon that becomes like a tie or becomes like a pleated skirt or go through the end in evening dresses. It's a woman that likes small, fashionable details, otherwise she's quite strict and classic.
You're not supposed to know anymore what is what. The leather looks like material, so the stripes look like printed. In fact, they're inset. The whole thing is that you don't even know anymore what is what and how it is made. This is the great craftsmanship of Fendi, who can make this kind of thing. I like the idea that clothes of high quality are very simple too. It's, in a way, it's not too difficult to make very complicated clothes.
Obviously, Fendi equals fur, and the things that they can do with fur at that house are really just sort of jaw-dropping, exquisitely crafted, but almost with a punk sort of sensibility. The sort of Mohican tufts of fur in the hair is very stylized, but more so than in some Fendi seasons. You could pull it apart and imagine incorporating the pieces into your wardrobe.
Well, I think when we talk about Karl, we have to talk about just his ability to multitask and the many, many things he designs. Karl has his fingers in so many different projects, and he always delivers at every house if he's creating something, re-envisioning how a woman's going to wear a shoe or carry a handbag. And we always see a lot of graphic play here at the House of Fendi.
Well, Fendi is always, for me, about the fall-winter collection. So you always think, what's he going to do there? Because fur is such an important part of that house's heritage, and I thought the furs were exceptional. If you are someone who likes fur, I thought the bags were terrific. And I thought the general spirit of sort of maximalism was a nice counterpoint to the minimalism we've seen for the last few seasons.
There was a lot of fur. I mean, look, it's a fur house. You know, like, call a spade a spade. I think it's great to embrace your identity with enthusiasm and be so straightforward about it.
Fendi was absolutely a marvel of magic of fur, technology, and creativity, and the bags were marvelous when they matched the coats or the outfits, and Mr. Lagerfeld and Silvia Venturini Fendi do marvelous work together. I love the shoes. I love the shoes on faceted heels. I love the whole mood of the whole show, which is a modern, new kind of modernity that's in the wave of Milan.
You know, we love to see color here at Fendi, and Karl has a real interesting color palette that often walks the runway here at Fendi, be it even in fur and in the ready-to-wear. So always a bit of an extravaganza. One's never quite sure what they're going to see come out of Karl's amazing mind.
Well, the great thing about fashion from the city is the quality, the luxury, the things are always beautifully made. It's the quality, you pay for the quality. And you are getting something that lasts for a very, very long time. If you buy a Fendi jacket, it's going to be in your closet forever. And you're getting something that's unmistakably luxurious. And it's an investment. You come here to buy investment clothes, investment pieces.
You know, the interesting thing about fashion, and I say this often, a woman has 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso. You know, there's not a whole lot of the body changes over time, but certainly technology is what changes fashion, and the technology of fabrications. Our basic body structure has pretty much been the same for centuries. And we're just making covering for ourselves, and we can drop a hemline, we can drop a waist, we can raise a waist, but at the end of the day, it's really technology that moves fashion forward, and the modern way that we style things. But I really believe that modern technology comes through in fabrications, and Karl has always really been a huge proponent of modernity in technology and looking at the most current and futuristic ways that fabrics are being created and incorporating that into the many, many collections he creates.
I mean, for me, Fendi's always something that I absolutely adore. I think the team there do such an amazing job. And I think when we go there, we expect the femininity, but also the little cheeky twists. And I think this season was an evolution with lots of the transparent dresses and the really high waist-hipped undergarments seen through the transparent dresses, which I absolutely adore.
It was so interesting to see Fendi with such a different point of view, and I actually loved it because I thought the clothes had a great sophistication. I thought they were the kind of clothes that a wealthy woman, a luxury customer would want to wear. I thought the girls looked really pretty. I thought they looked really fresh, and even when you see kind of the supermodels of the moment, Bella Hadid and Gigi Hadid, Kendall Jenner, the clothes looked great on them. They didn't look forced, they didn't look contrived, and everything really being grounded on that shocking lipstick red glove boot that was over the knee, but beautiful fluidity. You know, I love Karl when he's his softest.
I would use the word restrained, and I think that's the key word in a season of highly decorative collections that continue this hyper embellishment that we've been seeing for 2 years now. I think Karl took the moment to say reset the button and bring back some, you know, traditional clothes for working women, for women who appreciate polish.
Well, I thought for Fendi it was a remarkably straightforward show. The clothes were very grown up. Love the red boot, love the casting, love the use of the girls, and I thought it was an excellent show for Fendi. And And I think at a time when people are looking to invest in things of great quality, I think he nailed it beautifully.
And a lot of dresses that had handkerchief hemlines or kind of cutaway hemlines that just floated down the runway. And certainly amazing furs, as we always see on the runway. But I thought there was a lovely restraint without being boring on the runway. And I love the idea of clothes that are expensive, that look expensive, and handbags that are to die for. You know, all the great handles and the mink trims and the interesting fur trims. In a season when so many designers seem a bit confused about where they want to go with fashion in these challenging times, I thought the show had a real definite point of view. And they're clothes that I see my Neiman Marcus women wanting to wear and looking lovely and looking super expensive in them.
It just took me to somewhere, oh, I want that dress for my holiday and that one for my real life. And of course there was the structured suiting and all the things you want, the bag, the shoe, all those things, but you still had so much of that really beautiful softness and femininity, and the luxury was in the detailing. It wasn't showy, it was very subtle and quiet and clever, so I loved that. I loved it so much.
On February 19, 2019, Karl Lagerfeld unexpectedly passed away in Paris after over 5 decades working with Fendi. Just days after his death, the Italian house bid an emotional farewell to Lagerfeld as his final collection for the brand took to the Milan runway. The fall 2019 Fendi collection leaned heavily on Lagerfeld's signatures for the house, including his famous calligraphy, double F logo monogram, which he originally debuted in 1981. A quiet palette of neutral tones fit the show's somber mood, but was punctuated with optimistic pops of daffodil, sea green, and tangerine. Perforated leather made a bold geometric statement, while sharply tailored outerwear was balanced with delicately pleated silk for a complete mix of masculine and feminine. As the catwalk closed and tearful models took their finale lap, Lagerfeld's 54-year presence at Fendi was sorely missed. Silvia Venturini Fendi had long, languid Italian summer holidays on her mind when designing her spring 2020 collection for Fendi. The runway's decidedly relaxed silhouettes and earthy hues gave it a sense of luxurious ease. oversized floral prints, reminiscent of the 1970s, and touches of metallic gave the collection a slightly psychedelic feel. The collection also included dashes of Fendi's signature fur, in addition to a series of cozy quilted looks, all well suited for chilly summer nights on the Italian coast. For spring 2021, Silvia Venturini Fendi staged a live, socially distanced runway in Milan. The catwalk presented Fendi's menswear and womenswear collections in a combined show. The collection was a celebration of family, home, tradition, and freedom, delivering a positive message during the COVID-19 pandemic. Spring 2021 explored the idea of boardroom to boudoir dressing, as seen in slinky silhouettes and lingerie-inspired looks. The pieces had an easy feel and a sensual sensibility. An artisanal yet modern approach was applied to the label's menswear tailoring. Subtle prints and soothing tones of white, camel, gray, and sky blue ran through the collection. A relaxed, sophisticated, and optimistic collection from Fendi. In September 2020, Kim Jones, the former menswear designer at Louis Vuitton and current designer for Dior Men, joined Fendi as artistic director. He presented his debut collection, Spring 2021's Fendi Couture, at Paris Fashion Week. With Jones and Silvia Venturini at the helm, Fendi's legacy continues to move forward.